work she's been doing. Free Young Week Conference for 5 solid years. That's a huge effort. Thank you for bridging the gap between the old generation and the new generation lawyers. Thank you for giving hope to young lawyers. The Young Week Conference is 5 years. That's serious. I know God himself will reward you. And I want to encourage everyone participating this year. This is what you need in this digital age in the post-COVID economy, especially in the legal world. The Young Week Conference is where you need to be. God bless you.
Hello, my dear friends, my learned friends, the Young Wigs. I'm giving you a shout out to wish you all a very happy and successful conference. This year's Young Wigs Conference is again put together by the Legal Concierge. Mrs. DK is still at it, and I commend her for sustaining this training program about what law school does not teach. I hope you all have a very happy and successful outcome. I have recorded a little statement giving you a teaching lecture on litigation practice and how to succeed in litigation practice. It's just a tip. There will be many more other wise words that you may hear from many other wise men, our colleagues and learned friends at the back. So I wish you all a very happy conference, and again I say kudos to Inem, Mrs. DK, for sustaining the temple. 5 years and still counting. Good luck. Goodbye.
Hi, my name is James Abiono. I want to congratulate my sister in the DK for wonderful work she's been doing. Free Young Week Conference for 5 solid years. That's a huge effort. Thank you for bridging the gap between the old generation and the new generation lawyers. Thank you for giving hope to young lawyers. The Young Week Conference is 5 years. That's serious. I know God himself will reward you. And I want to encourage everyone participating this year. This is what you need in this digital age in the post-COVID economy, especially in the legal world. The Young Week Conference is where you need to be. God bless you.
Hello, my dear friends, my learned friends, the Young Wigs. I'm giving you a shout out to wish you all a very happy and successful conference. This year's Young Wigs Conference is again put together by the Legal Concierge. Mrs. DK is still at it, and I commend her for sustaining this training program about what law school does not teach. I hope you all have a very happy and successful outcome. I have recorded a little statement giving you a teaching lecture on litigation practice and how to succeed in litigation practice. It's just a tip. There will be many more other wise words that you may hear from many other wise men, our colleagues and learned friends at the back. So I wish you all a very happy conference, and again I say kudos to Inem, Mrs. DK, for sustaining the temple. 5 years and still counting. Good luck. Goodbye.
Hi, my name is James Abiono. I want to congratulate my sister in the DK for wonderful work she's been doing. Free Young Week Conference for 5 solid years. That's a huge effort. Thank you for bridging the gap between the old generation and the new generation lawyers. Thank you for giving hope to young lawyers. The Young Week Conference is 5 years. That's serious. I know God himself will reward you. And I want to encourage everyone participating this year. This is what you need in this digital age in the post-COVID economy, especially in the legal world. The Young Week Conference is where you need to be. God bless you.
Hello, my dear friends, my learned friends, the Young Wigs. I'm giving you a shout out to wish you all a very happy and successful conference. This year's Young Wigs Conference is again put together by the Legal Concierge. Mrs. DK is still at it, and I commend her for sustaining this training program about what law school does not teach. I hope you all have a very happy and successful outcome. I have recorded a little statement giving you a teaching lecture on litigation practice and how to succeed in litigation practice. It's just a tip. There will be many more other wise words that you may hear from many other wise men, our colleagues, and learned friends at the back. So I wish you all a very happy conference. And again, I say kudos to Inem, Mrs. Inem Ike, for sustaining the temple. 5 years and still counting. Good luck. Goodbye.
Timmy, can you hear me now on Zoom? You can't hear me on Zoom. What about now? Can you hear me now? Very low. Okay, cool. So, I'll do that for my end. Alpha, can you hear me now? Is it loud on Zoom now? Is it loud? It's not loud. Okay. What about like this? Is it loud? Is it loud? Okay, cool. So we are fine now. Okay.
Check. Testing. Can you hear me? Check. Microphone check. Testing. Check. Mic check. 1, 2.
Check 1, 2, microphone 1, 2.
www.thelegalconcierge.org/attend. Powered by The Legal Concierge. We inspire tomorrow.
I need the output in B, not the laptop. Please. Zoom, no one. Okay, well, videos it should be you have. Yes, now. You'll be playing the video online. That advert, the contract is sort out.
Let them talk to the mic now.
Check 1 2. Man, you can't pay Mr. Jao, Mr. Jao.
He doesn't have a phone. Who am I sending it to?
We have
Introductory voiceovers. Who is Tayo? I've sent it to Tayo's phone.
Download the laptop. I'm a player direct. Okay, let's download it.
I've sent it to voiceover. Somebody needs to listen to it so he knows which one to play. There should be no confusion.
Like that's why I said everything I needed should be on flash drive. I was saying this.
There's no way we can do
Hey, now download this one, download that one. I don't know.
Hello. Oros, good morning. Please, can you hear us? That means he can't hear us because if he heard me, he would have unmuted. Mr. Oros. Good morning. Please, can you hear me? We are just testing the micro to be sure that you can hear me. Can you hear me? Hello? I cannot hear Mr. Oros. I can't hear them in Port Harcourt. That's what we're trying to ask you. Port Harcourt cannot hear us. Oros, good morning. Please, can you hear me? Ross, can you hear me? Good morning. They're supposed to be together.
Hi, Ross. Good morning. But here, I don't like this sound. Sound, sound. If you can, sound, sound. Sound. So he appears to be having network issues. Sound check. 1, 2. Concierge. Sound. 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 Yeah, we can hear you. Can you hear me? Rose, can you hear me? We can hear you. Can you hear me? We can hear you. Can you hear me? Rose. Yes, guy, please, can I have some quiet here for just a second? Can I have some quiet here for just a second? Can I have some quiet here for just a second? So can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you increase the volume of your system? See if that helps. Are you serious? Yeah, I can. Okay, I can hear you clearly. Oh, brilliant, brilliant. Okay, so can I see your video to be sure that your video is okay? Say it again. Okay, that's fine. Okay. So, of course, when you are ready to go live, I'm sure it's just to bring your laptop camera down a bit and have a good headshot where you're seated. All right. Thanks, Oros. You can mute your mic now. Sound. No wahala.
So once you introduce me, please try not to let this play so that I can just use it to, because I don't want to start putting in my thing.
So that they're playing your own. Can I have some quiet in the hall, please? Again, I want to repeat, if you are on live with your device in this room, mute it. Don't hear me through your device in the room. Hear me from here, please. Turn off all your device. Thank you. Okay, a very good morning, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to say a very good morning, my lords, who are magnanimous to grace this occasion from the comfort of their homes this morning. Now, in every generation, there comes an individual who becomes like a bridge builder, who closes the gap between the older and the younger generation. In the comedy business, we have such a person in the capacity of Ali Baba. And when you come in the movie industry, the likes of RMD comes to mind in bridging that gap. And what pleasure I feel this morning to be identifying with someone who is doing the very same thing in the legal profession. Many years ago, I've heard young lawyers complain that there is a big divide between them and the ones who have gone ahead of them as seniors. And I'm delighted to have met this one individual I'm about to introduce to you, who is building this bridge and ensuring that there is a seamless transfer of wisdom, of knowledge, and experience between the older generation and the younger generation of lawyers. This one person has created this platform called the Young Wigs Conference, and for 5 years have continued to ensure that young lawyers learn from the feet of seasoned lawyers and even from the feet of those who have gone ahead of them just by a few years. And I welcome you to this 5th edition of the Young Wigs Conference. Because of the COVID, we're coming to you live virtually today. My name is Richmond Osuji, and I have the pleasure working with this amazing Amazon who you will get to meet in a second or two to tell you the story as to why we're here. But most importantly, technology has become something we cannot do away with regardless of where you operate. And I'm excited that in spite of coming from a little known village in Nigeria, she has become a global brand, bringing back to Nigeria the experiences she has garnered practicing in the state of New York and sharing her experience practicing in the corporate world here in Nigeria. All of this is what you will be hearing from her in a bit. And of course, we have seasoned lawyers who will be talking to you virtually today during the course of this conference. Now, without much ado, I'm just going to bring up this person. But before I bring up this person, who is the convener for this event today. Now, if you've been coming with this event in the last 5 years, she needs no introduction. But if you're like me, who's only having the privilege to have met her today, then you need to listen to what we have to say about her as I play this short clip to introduce her to this event. So let's just hear her introduction, and I'll bring her up to address us in the opening address for the Young Wigs Conference 5th edition.
Mrs. Inamesit Dike Esquire, M Club, ACIS, is the Chief Executive Officer of the Legal Concierge and convener of the Young Wigs Conference and was recently named as one of the top 50 individuals leading in legal innovations in Africa. She's an attorney and counsel at law, New York, USA, and a member of the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators. She is also a chartered company secretary and connoisseur of corporate governance, a boardroom mogul, a commercial law, labor law, and human resources expert, and is considered an authority in these areas. She served as the head of legal services and technical contracting for the joint venture of NNPC Belema Oil Producing Limited on the oil mining lease OML 55 oil and gas exploration and production in the Niger Delta region. Aside from her academic and professional accomplishments, she has a super-duper passion for community development. In her spare time, she channels her passion for sustainable societal development through the education of young lawyers via a project called the Young Wigs Conference, which analyzes the confluence of law, business, and technology and helps young wigs navigate their way through these new waves of legal practice.
solving problem in the face of difficulty, solving problem in the face of challenges, rather than just ask questions and be an armchair critic. She decided to create platforms to help lawyers to advance in life, to create and to connect with one another. I'm excited to welcome, to talk to you, convener of this conference. For the opening remarks, let's welcome Mrs. Inemisi Dike.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Inemisi Dike, and I'm very excited to be here at the 5th Young Wigs Conference 2020. This is our 5th year anniversary, and for those of us who have just joining us for the first time, welcome. I hope that you have your snacks, popcorn, sneakers, sitting on the couch, and ready to join this adventure. So let me follow all protocols. The Honorable Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, the Honorable Attorney General of Lagos State and Commissioner of Justice, the Honorable Attorney General of Rivers State and Commissioner of Justice, Chairman of the Body of Benches, OCJ Okocha SAN, the President of the Nigerian Bar Association, Olumide Akpata, the National Officers of the Nigerian Bar Association, Senior Advocates of Nigeria, eminent bar leaders, distinguished colleagues, distinguished non-lawyers who are present today, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen, young lawyers and law students, welcome. It is my distinct privilege to stand before you today to welcome you to the Young Wigs Conference 2020. I have been so excited to put this together for the past 5 years. How did this all start? It started in the year 2016 when, for some reason, the courts in Rivers State were not able to function for up to a year. And a lot of young lawyers found themselves looking for other means of generating revenue. And some of them were asking for jobs that had nothing to do with the legal profession. This broke my heart. I had struggled so much after I got out of law school, and I realized that I wasn't the only one with the problem. So I put young lawyers in a room, and I spoke to some seniors who, for some reason, had generated an interest in me. And we decided to have backroom ideas about where the profession was going in Port Harcourt, where I live, as well as where we hope the future will take us to. These backroom ideas has evolved into what you see today called the Young Wigs Conference. In 2017, the idea exploded. We realized that the problem was not just ours alone, but for majority of the young lawyers and law students who lived in the South. So in 2017, we had attendees from all over the South, from Onitsha to Owerri, Aba to Abaelsa, Yanegwa, to Akwa Ibom, to Delta, Asaba, to other places of River State, and the rest of the South. And we realized that this problem was not just unique to a few people alone. We decided to continue speaking, and we had evolved from talking about the problem to also analyzing the possibilities of the use of technology to solve these problems of where we are today, and also to build the kind of future that we expected. I used my story to inspire other young lawyers and law students. When I started out, I was the first lawyer in my genealogy. I come from a tiny village that had no lawyers before me. When I got out of law school, I had expended all my family's money on learning in law school, but I had no way and no direct mentorship. Everything you see today has been as a result of goodwill that senior lawyers that had no familiar relations with me decided to invest in me. To whom much is given, much is expected. As I had received, I decided to give back. After getting called to the Nigerian bar, I found myself stuck in the house with 3 young children and a beautiful marriage. However, I still wanted to practice law. I still wanted to be very involved in the legal profession, which I had grown to love. I struggled with this for so long, and I realized that as I juggled marriage, children, and legal practice, it was not just a problem that was unique to me. I had the privilege of taking the New York bar exam. I studied at home, and I took that bar exam. And when I got called as an attorney in New York, I realized that there was a different world out there, a world that I could introduce in my home beloved country, Nigeria, and in Port Harcourt, where I lived. So I realized that in America and other Western parts of the world, technology was as easy as ABC. Legal practice wasn't the way we were taught in law school. I came back to Nigeria and I spoke to a few people around about it. What about where we have to be tomorrow? We have these problems today, but can't we use technology to evolve? That's how this conversation started. I started talking about law, business, and technology since the year 2016. 2017, we talked about evolve, innovate, or die. We talked about the problems of why legal practice needed to be based on a one-on-one physical relationship and build trust over a long period of time before we could actually build a brand as a legal practitioner. 2018, we talked about the theme metamorphosis. Okay, we found ourselves in the middle of a transition. How can we survive and how can we make money? In 2019, we held 2 events. And these events were focused on the theme divergence. We are aware of what is taught in law school. We are aware of the traditional way of practice. How can we evolve and go off not on a total divergence, but actually build on the traditional practice of law? In 2020, COVID happened. Everything that we had been speaking about over 5 years happened to us. All of a sudden, we realized that it was possible for us as legal practitioners to work from home, to work from anywhere you were in the world. You didn't have to be in the court premises in order for you to function. You didn't have to actually go to a particular physical office in order for you to function. Now, the problems that we had been talking about for so long came to reality. Yes, it came along with its harsh realities, but I would like us in this conference this year to look at the possibilities, the good that we can seemingly derive from the issues that the COVID-19 pandemic has brought to each and every one of us. This year, the conference, we are talking about legacy. In today's conference, we would like you to please sit down, relax, and think about where you've been. Think the next 5 years. Technology has come to stay. All we have to do is not just sit with our certificate of core and continue to practice in the same way it has always been. Stick with us in this conference, and we're going to talk to you about solutions that we have built. We're not just talking about the problems. We're talking about solutions that we have created that would enable you as a legal practitioner sit at home and still be in the practice of law. So if you were a young mother like me with 3 little children and you're worried about having to juggle between practice and domestic life, please sit back and listen. If you're a young lawyer who is very tech savvy, who is very much aware of how to use social media, but you don't have so much of a brand, you don't know a lot of people, you don't have many clients yet, sit back and listen. We have something very interesting for you in this conference. So this year, we are going to be talking about the theme legacy. We're going to have senior advocates of Nigeria come and speak to you about how to build the legacy and how they have also built theirs. Because in order for us to know where we want to get to tomorrow, we have to listen to the elders. So yes, listen and be ready to apply technology to it. It's the way you're going to go about the Young Wigs conference this year is very interesting. Like the MC has said, it's a virtual conference. However, we've had more than 21 facilitators who are senior advocates and experts in their field who have sat down to have pre-recorded sessions available for you. After the live sessions, you can go to the links and watch each and every one of these sessions. These sessions talk about how you can upscale in your legal practice. It also talks about how you can apply technology to practice. It talks about how you can become a tech lawyer and work for the app developers. It also talks about how to make money from the practice of law. I hope you are as excited as I am, because I didn't have this opportunity when I got out of law school. And this is coming to you free. Please sit back and relax and enjoy the Young Wigs Conference. Welcome to Young Wigs Conference 2020 Legacy.
Okay, thank you so very much, Inemesit. I think when I say that thank you on behalf of all of the young lawyers who are online watching and gearing to learn. She has told you, relax, don't wear your wig, don't wear your gowns, just relax. Sneakers like she's wearing, just get a popcorn. But that popcorn, you should not chew it when the senior advocates are speaking. Just leave it. You can chew it when we're between breaks or when I'm interacting with you now. You can chew your popcorn. But when those senior colleagues of yours start speaking, you want to pay all the attention that your mind can garner in one minute. Okay, I mean, she has told us what to expect. She has told us, imagine bringing together 21 senior colleagues of yours, most of whom are senior advocates of Nigeria. That in itself is remarkable. And you are getting all of these for free. You know, they say that one of the best ways to give back is to plant a tree that you will not be benefiting from its shelter for the rest of your life. That is exactly what this young woman is doing, a mother of 3. And you know what I love about this? She looks like she left law school 2 years ago. She has practiced now for 14 years. That is remarkable. To drive something so passionately and bring it to where we are today is something she should be celebrated and commended for. And I want to also join her in appreciating all of her senior colleagues who have reached out and continue to partner with her in ensuring that this particular Young Wigs conference achieves its purpose year in and year out. Now, our next speaker may shock some of you, you know, when I introduce our next speaker. But those who have come to know this young lady as one who goes out to get all the good she can get for young lawyers, you won't be so surprised. But if you don't know that much, you just will be as surprised as I was when I first saw the name on the speaker list. And he is not giving you a recorded version. And he's not going to be talking to you virtually. He will be coming to talk to you right here in the room, in the studio, where I and herself is talking to you from. You know, when we were introduced, I was excited when she told me that she's been doing this for 5 years, all for free. All for free. So many years ago at the Sheraton Hotel in Abuja, I walked into a senior colleague in the MC business, and then he says to me, unfortunately, nobody did for our own aspect of MCing as Alibaba did for comedy. We should do something about that. We're doing our best today. But regardless of what your experience has been as a young lawyer, she has come to solve that problem. That's why I began by saying, in every generation, there comes that bridge builder. There comes that person who just puts that bridge together, whether they come to cross it sometime later or not, but they want those who are coming behind them not to go through the pain they have gone through, but to get life somewhat a bit more comfortable. Now, that doesn't mean you should be lazy. Of course, you are not. You are all hardworking people. Listen, I like to say this when I interact with lawyers. It seems like a very easy thing to do, but law, it's indeed a very demanding course of studying the university, and it's another demanding thing to practice in real life to succeed. So all of you are hard-working lawyers, you know you are. So I'm just going to remind us, give us a quick rundown on what to expect. She has given us an overview of what is going to be looking like today. So after her welcoming, we'll be listening to these 2 renowned speakers. I said they would shock you pretty much. Okay, you listen to 2 of them. Now, after we're done listening to two of them, we're going to have like a plenary session where we're discussing the theme of this year's conference. And this year's conference, and of course, talk of the amazing gentleman that I was telling you, all of you earlier. What an honor, what a blessing it is to have him join us right now. Without much ado, I will introduce him to you and you would listen to him. I'm excited, ladies and gentlemen. I'm excited to introduce this remarkable gentleman to you, who will be speaking to you shortly. Now, this gentleman that I'm about to introduce to you has almost 3 decades of experience advising clients on various aspects of Nigerian corporate and commercial law. He is recognized for advising local and international corporations on marketing leading transactions, including cross-border transactions in Nigeria and sub-Saharan Africa. His experience spans several core areas of commercial law and practice, including mergers and acquisitions, corporate restructuring, employment, immigration, governance, and anti-corruption and regulatory compliance, amongst others. He has been recognized as a leading lawyer by several global legal directories, including IFLR 1000, Legal 500, and Chambers Global. He has, in his professional capacity, been engaged as a consultant and worked closely with the Office of Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council, Attorney General of the Federation, Infrastructure Concession, Regulatory Commission, and Bureau of Public Procurement, the Nigerian Economic Summit Group, amongst others. He is the SWAL chairman of the Nigerian Bar Association section on the business law, and via this platform, he championed the development of business law and policy in Nigeria via several innovative initiatives, including scholarships and several extensive continuous legal education programs. Now, I could go on and on and on, but I know you are getting the feel and the idea of the gentleman I'm about to bring and the caliber of the speaker that Inemesi DK is bringing to you this morning. Ladies and gentlemen, I speak of the man who on the 30th of July was duly elected as your president of Nigeria Bar Association. I'm talking about the partner and head of corporate and commercial practice group at Templars, a leading commercial law firm in Nigeria. I'm talking about a man I've come to personally admire and respect. Please welcome to talk to you this morning, Mr. Olumide Akpata, President, Nigerian Bar Association. You can give those virtual applauses right there in your rooms. I can see you, I can feel you, but let's welcome our President. Mr. President, you're welcome.
Good morning, everybody. It's a distinct honor and pleasure to be with you this morning. I was wondering for a second who the compare was describing in such superlative terms. Well, I guess whom the cap fits, let him wear it. So, again, I thank you. I'm delighted. I'm privileged to be here this morning, and I must commend the organizers. Putting together a conference in the times that we are in is no mean feat, and I must say that I think this is one year where your tenacity, legal concierge, your tenacity has really come to the fore, and it is undeniable, cannot be denied that you mean business. Because it would have been very easy to cop out and say COVID is the reason for not holding this year's event, and nobody would have questioned that or doubted that. So I am not quite, unfortunately, not sure of protocols that may have been established. So let me lean gently on the protocols that may have been established already, and say that it gives me great pleasure to be invited by the organizers of the Young Wigs Conference, to be one of the speakers. Within a very short time loop, it has become arguably, that the conference itself has become arguably a showpiece event in the legal community in Nigeria on account of its clear focus and direction. I must place on record my sincere appreciation to the organizers, and particularly to NMDK, for being at the forefront of reimagining legal education and by extension law practice in 21st century Nigeria. Indeed, there is no doubt that it is a responsibility which we cannot afford to shirk as leaders in the Nigerian legal industry. As we may all know, from being a mere phraseology of action during the events of our most recent history, Sorosoke has become a vintage metaphor for structural and systemic change in systems, processes, and otherwise existing antediluvian norms which have only helped in the achievement of retrogression both in human capital and other critical index of social development. It therefore calls for critical conversations, albeit in elevated tones, Sorosoke, the sort that we are having today, not just from the millennial and Generation Z, often referred to as the Sorosoke generation, but also from all concerned stakeholders. irrespective of their demographic. As lawyers, we are by no means excused in that conversation. Indeed, it should start with us. We are placed in a default position of honor by the society on account of the prestige that attends the profession from time immemorial. That place of honor, however, equally comes with high demands and expectations from members of the public who look up to the profession and its members for guidance, direction, protection of their rights, and enforcement of same when they are trampled upon by state actors. They also look up to the profession and its members for leadership. This is more so in the case of Nigeria, which has continued to grapple with leadership crises. At a time of not too young to run and heightened interest of the Sorosoke generation in our national and subnational politics, I believe, like the organizers of this conference, that lawyers, particularly young lawyers, can play a part in that connection and assume critical leadership positions in the near transitory phase of our national history, and by extension, rise up to the ultimate expectations of the Nigerian public of the legal profession in Nigeria, rise up to the expectations that the public have of us as lawyers. Leadership is a function of accrued learning and experience garnered over time through exposure to soft and hard skills gained in the conventional and unconventional settings. This underscores the learning component of leadership, a fact which, in my view, should cause us to take a second look at the system of legal education in Nigeria, both at the law faculties and at the Nigerian Law School, as they both constitute the critical stages of any legal training. I have often said that the current state of legal education in Nigeria cannot guarantee the graduates. The current state of legal education in Nigeria cannot guarantee law graduates that meet the minimum expectations of 21st century legal marketplace and society at large. It is anachronistic and designed to train lawyers whose only worldview of a lawyer is the one who goes to the courts. This has over the years created a glut of lawyers well versed in motions and affidavits, but with little or no knowledge of practical know-how of other areas of practice, including those that are emerging. This knowledge gap has created an intrusion of other professionals in the legal marketplace, competing for what otherwise should be work for lawyers, whilst we wring our hands in despair. As some of you may recall, at the core of my mandate for the MBA is to champion a structured reformation of the system of legal education in Nigeria, with a view to birthing a system that produces knowledgeable, competent, sound, and ethically conscious lawyers. That commitment remains solid, and it is at the heart of our welfare program, to the extent that our greatest resource as lawyers is the knowledge and education we possess. We cannot be part of the Sorosoke movement if we don't have the basic knowledge of our own trade, if we don't have the skills that we need, because we can only immerse ourselves or inject ourselves into that process from a position of knowledge, having mastered our own craft. To this end, by the first quarter of next year, we shall convene a State of Legal Education Summit at the Afebabalola University in Ado-Ekiti to address all of the issues militating against legal education in Nigeria. I am hopeful that this gathering that we propose would yield positive resolutions that will be a watershed in legal education in Nigeria. In the meantime, the NBA under my watch is perfecting plans to reconstitute the board of the Institute of Continuing Legal Education, ICLE, which will be charged with the responsibility for operating the continuing professional development program of the MBA. This institute would offer training on old, new, and emerging areas of the law practice, as well as provide mentorship, career coaching, and leadership training sessions for young lawyers to be able to discover themselves beyond law training. The Institute, the ICLE, will launch in Abuja, and in due course, other training centers will be set up in branches of the MBA across the geopolitical zones. We expect that this would afford further learning opportunities to lawyers, especially the new Wigs, who will be able to leverage the e-learning resources to be provided by the Institute to leapfrog their skills and capacities. My bias for the welfare of the young lawyer is well known, and it is for nothing other than my conviction that the future of this profession belongs to them. Thus, the only abiding legacy that we can even ever give them is the skill or have the skills to thrive in a world which we have seen can change between sunset and sunrise, can change very quickly. I believe that when our legal and continuing legal education programs come on stream, it will go a long way in tackling some of the issues that punctuated the theme of this year's event, particularly the production of young and dynamic lawyers from whom this nation can expect the leadership of our collective aspirations. I thank you all for listening, and I wish you all fruitful deliberations at the conference. And let me close by saying that, let me place on record the fact that the Nigerian Bar Association will be partnering closely, will be partnering effectively with Legal Concierge, because, as I've had cause to say, we fully appreciate the work you're doing, and the MBA will be working closely with you to ensure that we harness this huge resource we have in young Wigs, who we can and show and create a path for them to follow as a path that will lead them to career fulfillment, but also position them, prepare them for leadership of this country, which is a resource that is greatly in demand today more than ever before. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, the President of the Nigeria Bar Association, Mr. Olumide Akpata. Thank you so very much. You know, telling and reminding lawyers the importance of embracing technology in moving forward in this practice, and of course, stating again what, or reiterating what he had told the Bar Association as their president he would be leading the association to achieve in terms of continuing education. And I find that quite exciting. And bringing it home with the willingness of the association to partner with Legal Concierge, who bring these Young Wigs Conference together, is quite remarkable. Now, given the number of lawyers that are churned out of our universities every year and the number that go through the law school, you will agree with me that those numbers need to be guided and pointed in the right direction, you know, in terms of getting not just work, but staying relevant throughout their career as lawyers. Again, thank you very much, Mr. Olumide Akpata. Can I get those virtual applause from you? Don't worry, I can see you from your homes there, yeah? Thank you very much. Now, from the president of the MBA to one of the finest legal minds, we call them legal luminaries. As you know, this is one of the finest and brightest legal minds that Nigeria has ever produced. He'll be talking to us on the theme of the conference. We're talking about legacy, right? And our next speaker, a keynote speaker precisely, his legal expertise spans the disparate yet connected fields of litigation and transactional work, and he has over 35 years of legal expertise and experience in areas such as private equity and venture capital, project finance, international business transactions, capital markets, financial services, regulation, energy and natural resources, infrastructure, telecoms, construction and engineering, oil and gas law, privatization. There you go. As well as litigation and arbitration. He's played a key role in the Nigerian banking sector reforms and the recent past sector privatization, and represents a wide range of clients in domestic and cross-border commercial disputes. Now, real quick, before I bring him up to speak to you, there's something that I must do. I must do this. Those of you online might not appreciate this immediately, but I have to do this because it is very important. We have very senior, his wealth of knowledge and expertise at seminars and conferences, and I tell you what privilege we have, to have him share with us. Now, however, he's not here this morning to share with us, but he has sent us one who is a young lawyer, but has garnered very meritorious years of experience as well in legal practice, and currently is a senior associate at Olaniwun and Ajayi. Our keynote speaker, who is unable to join us this morning, is Professor Koyinshola Ajayi, Senior Advocate of Nigeria and Managing Partner of Olaniwun Ajayi LP. Speaking on his behalf, please welcome these Senior Associate, Joba Akinola. Joba?
Thank you very much. Greetings to you all. I'll stand on existing protocols whilst acknowledging the President of the NBA, the Senior Advocates of Nigeria, learned senior colleagues, and all present here physically and virtually. As the introducer mentioned, I am standing in on behalf of Professor Koyin Ajayi, who very much wanted to be here but is unavoidably absent. I'm privileged and honored to be delivering this on his behalf. Needless to say, shoes such as his are greater than I can currently fill, but I hope that you will look past the messenger and focus on the message. I had hoped to come here wearing a mask and pretend to be him, but I think I have a little too much hair and much of it too black. Yeah, that was a YOLO joke, so I'll probably need a job on Monday. So in some ways, it is perhaps fitting that this address is being delivered by one of us, a young lawyer, although some might disagree with that assertion. But I think that whilst I'm delivering the thoughts of an elder in the legal profession, because of my relative youth, I will not be seen as talking down at you. I'll be sharing his keynote address, which he had prepared for this session, around the theme of this year's conference, which is legacy. And with his kind permission, I have taken some liberties with the text, although not much was needed because he wrote it largely in a young man's voice. Yes. So, but before we go into the text of his address, I would like to share a brief clip with you, which sets the tone for the rest of the address. Please. Video, please.
Panther has been the protector of Wakanda for generations. A mantle passed from warrior to warrior. Now, because your friend murdered my father, I also wear the mantle of king.
In my culture, death is not the end, Baba. It's more of a stepping off point.
He is with us, and it is your time to be king.
I give to you. I'm sorry. Bring it, T'Challa. Stand up. You are a king.
Y'all sitting up here comfortable. Must feel good.
He killed his own brother.
Thank you. That was a mashup of has been recited, many an epitaph written, many a song sung about men and women, great and small, the lives they led, and yes, the legacies they left. In going over the annals and the records, a consistent thread that can be observed from the rich tapestry woven by historians, griots, and chroniclers since the beginning of time is that the legacies of men and women are built slowly but surely from the days of youth. However, ironically, but perhaps unsurprisingly, the period of youth is not when most think about seemingly distant matters. Such as humans with an inherent tendency to procrastinate on weighty affairs, the default is to defer any thinking about our legacy till we are in the departure lounge. I'm just guessing here, but I would imagine that a blooming flower, were it capable of thought, would think very little about much besides looking beautiful and being a wonder to the eyes. Not much thought given to bearing fruit of such lofty matters. Because legacies do not just appear, they are built. But speaking of building, there are legacies and there are legacies. A deliberately and thoughtfully built legacy, like the biblical house on the solid rock, will endure and stand the test of time. And by the way, speaking of time, it is that one commodity that we think we have so much of until it dawns on us, often too late, that we have so little. A very important point to note as we go through the rest of this address is that everyone, everywhere, is building a legacy. The key question only being as to the quality and the character of that legacy. Or to put a different perspective to it and help us take our focus off our mortality. What is called a brand when you are alive is what will be called a legacy when you are no more. And as management consultants and performance coaches have told us at different times and in different ways, everyone has a brand. Legacies, like brands, are built poco a poco, i.e. in little increments. Legacy building is a daily exercise, not a one-day event. So bearing that in mind, and without attempting to masquerade as a brand expert, I will speak in passing to what you must do to build your personal and professional brand, and thereby your legacy. Here are some tips I have learned for building a personal and professional brand. The first is you must be focused and deliberate about the brand you want to create. You cannot be everything to everyone, but you must decide who and what you want to be first, as that will shape everything else, all the steps you're going to take, and all the actions and decisions you're going to make. The second thing is that you must be genuine and authentic. Integrity is critical in life as it is in career, not least in the legal profession, where trust, not just in your competence, but in your character, is in fact currency. The third thing is you should be consistent and diligent. At the heart of a personal brand is a set of habits. So stay the course, even when the ride gets a little bumpy. Smooth seas don't make good sailors anyway. And as for diligence, the Bible says, "See you a man diligent in his business, he will stand before kings and not before mean men." Another tip is to find a successful example and follow it. Find a mentor who has walked the path you seek to thread. Not only will that mentor guide you, they will also give your brand legitimacy and exposure. Case in point, me. The last point about building your personal, professional brand and thereby your legacy is that you should seize every opportunity that you have to create a positive impact. Because whilst your legacy may be seen as the sum total of your impacts from the perspective of the people you deal with. What you did for them and how you made them feel may be the full picture of your legacy. And now, whilst all of that is well and good, it will be remiss of me to speak as though we lived in utopia, where the paths are straight, institutions function as intended, and all is generally well. Because, after all, this is Nigeria, a country where corruption, lawlessness, impunity, and oppression are the order of the day. A country with tremendous human and other resources that yet somehow is the poverty capital of the world. An economy stuck in stagflation, with no clear purpose or vision from those at the helm of affairs, who are seemingly more concerned with frustrating creativity and stifling dissent than listening and catering to the yearnings and cries of those they claim to serve. In the midst of all this, I imagine that the question at the tips of many lips is, what sort of legacy can one hope to build in a society that appears to have no hope? I ask not as a prophet of doom or a singer of gloomy tunes, but to draw the attention of all young Wigs listening to my voice here to another layer of the burden that rests on our shoulders, the one element of our respective legacies that is not individual but collective. Our nation is going through a challenging time like none in recent history, even as our profession is faced with challenges old and new. And it behoves us to take action. Like Nehemiah in his time, we must be part of the building of our nation and the improvement of our profession. As lawyers, it's part of our sacred calling to be at the heart of the rebuilding of the broken and failing society that we live in, even as we rethink and reinvent the practice of law. We must stand up to be counted. We must speak up, or shall I say, we must source okay. But not just with words. We must act as vanguards of truth and justice in our society. That is our collective legacy, and none of us must be found wanting. Colleagues, we are the change generation. Not a false dawn or mirage of change, but the real deal. We have the tools, the energy, the drive, the voice, the creativity, the passion to create the future that we want and desire for ourselves and future generations. Colleagues, we are the virtual hearings generation. We are the legal education reform generation. And who knows, perhaps we are the no more wigs and gowns generation. Ladies and gentlemen, the future is here. Tomorrow is today. Your legacy building began before you became aware of it, so you cannot afford to waste any more time. In an age of disruption, you must position yourself as a lawyer of the future, equipped for the market of the future. It does not suffice anymore to just know the law and read the cases, know how to file motions and affidavits, know how to prepare tenancy agreements. But no, whilst all of that is well and good, much more is required by those you serve in this society that is evolving and progressing. Business, finance, technology, strategy, these and more you must master. These arrows you must have in your quiver. This is a young lawyers conference, which means that most of us here have more years of practice ahead of us than we have behind us. This means, of course, that we have relatively little experience, but it also means that we have ample room for growth and progress. It means that we have more time and space to make mistakes. It also means that we have more opportunities to upskill and retool where necessary, to become the lawyers that we need to be, that our society needs to be, as the future fast becomes yesterday. Yes, you heard that right. The future is fast becoming yesterday. Colleagues, Wing is right at our fingertips. It goes by fast. The future belongs to the innovators, the ever-questioning minds, the ones who always seek ways to improve the seemingly perfect, the ones who are not content with the status quo and are ready to keep pushing in the face of challenges. And with that, I return to where we started. As Chadwick Boseman, Plain T'Challa, tells us, death is not the end. For our legacies will live long after we are departed, which is quite fitting, as Boseman himself left behind a legacy as a man of excellence in his chosen field, film. As David Wilrout so well put it, what Boseman did with his time on the planet is indescribable. The future generations who saw something magical on screen from him, and those that preceded him who saw what they never thought possible, have been impacted forever by his legacy. Not just as the Marvel Universe's first leading black superhero, but as a black superhero who transcended the comic book fandom to become one of the biggest cultural touchstones of the entire century. Without Boseman, that doesn't happen. Part of him knew it, as he persisted through his diagnosis to bang out an insane stretch of movies that demanded so much from him. More than his movies, he banged out an insane stretch of eternal friendships, role model moments for fans and youth, and a sense of fun to every talk show bit and interview, and undoubtedly moments in private too. He was every bit the hero he portrayed on screen. That was David Wilrout speaking about Chadwick Boseman, a professional par excellence, which is an example that you listening can draw from as an inspiration to your career. In closing, I recognize that all of this might leave a number of us at different points on the feelings spectrum. Some are probably feeling burdened with feelings of inadequacy, some with regrets over time lost, and some are feeling the weight of great expectation, while some are feeling supercharged and ready to go on and do great things that will be remembered for eternity by generations. And I doubt any one of you could name a single Sumerian, even though, or whether you share his view that there is no such thing as a legacy, regardless of what side of the philosophical, if I may, divide you sit on. I'll implore you to do these simple things, colleagues. Enjoy yourself and time with your family, friends, and loved ones. Do something positive and impact the lives of those around you for good. Project some love and be a source of joy to those around you. As they say, be kind. People will always remember how you made them feel. Appreciate the moment. Don't be so caught up chasing the future that you fail to count your blessings and savor the sweet taste of success. And lastly, please do your work and do it as well as you possibly can. Thank you. I hope I have given you a nugget or two to think about. Thank you.
My name is James Abiono. I want to congratulate my sister in the Mesidike.
Thank you so much, Joba Akinola. Thank you. Speaking on behalf of
That's a huge effort. Thank you for bringing the gap between
Professor Ajayi.
and the new generation.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for giving hope to young leaders. The Young Week Conference is 5 years. That's serious. I know God himself will reward you. And I want to encourage everyone participating this year. This is what you need in this digital age, the post-COVID economy, especially in the legal world.
Use the docs.
The Young Week Conference is where you need to be.
This will work better.
Hello, my dear friends, my learned friends, Young Wigs. I'm giving you a shout out to wish you all a very happy and successful conference This year's Young Wigs conference is again put together by the legal concierge, Mrs. Inemesi, still at it, and I commend her for sustaining this training program and also successful outcome. I have recorded a little statement giving you a teaching lecture on litigation practice and how to succeed in litigation practice. It's just a tip. There will be many more other wise words that you may hear from many other wise men, our colleagues, and learned friends at the back. So I wish you all a very happy conference. And again, I say kudos to Inem. This is for sustaining the temple. 5 years and still counting. Good luck. Goodbye.
Hi, my name is James Abiono. I want to congratulate my sister Inemesi for wonderful work.
Wigs. I'm giving you a shout out to wish you all a very happy and successful conference. This year's Young Wigs conference is again put together by the legal concierge, Mrs. Inemesi, still at it, and I commend her for sustaining this training program about what law school does not teach. I hope you all have a very happy and successful outcome. I have recorded a little statement giving you a teaching lecture on litigation practice and how to succeed in litigation practice. It's just a tip. There will be many more other wise words that you may hear from many other wise men, our colleagues, and learned friends at the back. So I wish you all a very happy conference, and again I say kudos to Inem. This is it.
Okay, so thank you very much, Joba Akinola, a senior associate at Olaniwo. Thank you so much for representing legacy. Now, still continuing the conversation around legacy, we're going to have these plenary session on legacy, the art of legal business, is what we're looking at. It's intended to be more like an expose on making of a prominent veteran of law and how to pass torch from one generation of legal practice to another. That is what we'll be looking at. And in their usual style, Legal Concierge has brought together a panel, a very eminent panel, to do justice to this theme on legacy, especially for you young wigs who are joined in listening to us right now. So I will go straight into introducing the discussants in this session. But before I do that, you just saw the video played of the distinguished senior advocate OCJ Okocha. He is not able to join us in this session. He's just been bereaved this morning. But not to worry, when we get to the master class, he told you in the video that he has done. So quickly now bring up our first discussant in the plenary session. I'll just play an audio introducing our panel members, and then I will introduce the man who is online via Zoom. But the two you're going to hear from the radio now, or the audio rather, the voiceover, are in the room here with me. And once I'm done with that, I'll bring them up. So let's begin with our very first discussants in the session. If we don't have that, I will continue here. Okay, you know, in show business, they say what? The show must go on. So I will just go ahead and take an abridged version of the bio of our first discussant that I have here and proceed to inviting him. He is the managing partner of Babalaki & Co. He was conferred with the rank of Senior Advocate of Nigeria in 2006 and is recognized by Who is Who Legal Magazine, the official research partner of the International Bar Association and the Legal 500 Europe, Middle East and Africa directory as one of the top business lawyers in Nigeria. He's a notary public for Nigeria and has been approved by the Nigerian Securities and Exchange Commission to carry out legal services in the Nigerian capital market. He has acted as chairman of the High Court of Lagos State Civil Procedure Rules Review Panel and committee chairman on the judicial appointment and bench relations of the Nigerian Bar Association. He has represented one of the top IOCs in Nigeria in the 40 billion naira compensation claim and represented one of the oil and gas majors in regulatory disputes with the Maritime Regulatory Authority through arbitration and alternative dispute resolution. So when we talk about legacy, we talk about sustainability, and this gentleman has shown from his resume that he is indeed one that has practiced law in a sustainable manner, from litigation to arbitration to alternative dispute resolution. He comes to share all of this wealth of experience with us today on the panel discussing this topic of legacy. Please welcome with me Chief Wale Akoni, SAN. Sir, please, if you can just... Okay, so joining him. Do we have the second one? Are we good? Are we ready? Okay, you're welcome, sir. Alrighty. So we continue to the second discussant, and this time also in the room here with us. Our second discussant is a senior associate in the law firm of Babalaki and Co. Her practice areas include dispute resolution, financing, e-commerce, corporate and commercial law. She works closely with the Energy and Natural Resources Group with a strong background in international commercial litigation and international financing. She handles a wide range of complex, high-profile commercial litigation for first-tier financial institutions, regulators in the oil and gas and finance sector, amongst others. She represents clients in all sectors in civil disputes and proceedings and participates in domestic and international arbitration. She has an eye for details. As a result, she consistently represents clients in cross-border transactions. Recent transactional experiences include advising clients in mining sector for the issuance of 15 billion naira commercial paper, advising indigenous petroleum company in a successful cross-border joint venture asset sale transaction where its bitumen business was hived off to SPV and 60% equity transfer to a prominent international energy company. Again, I could go on and on and on, but let me, break it there and welcome our second discussant. Please welcome Mabel Okereke, a senior associate at the law firm of Babalaki and Co. Mabel, you're welcome. All right. So before I bring up the person who will moderate this session, let me now go online. The beauty of the COVID, if there's any beautiful part for those of us in this business, is that it has allowed us to have hybrid events where people from all parts of the world join a single event. So I won't even be surprised if someone is listening to us today from, say, the US, say, the UK, but I'm sure 4 years ago, all of that may not have been possible because we would have done it in a physical environment here in Lagos, Port Harcourt, or wherever the convener would have thought to take it. Okay, so our next discussant is an alumnus of both the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, Kumasi in Ghana, where he obtained his degree in 2007, and Brunel University, London, where he obtained his LLM in 2010 and a PhD in the area of comparative criminal justice with a thesis titled The Detention Rights of Suspects and Accused Persons in England and Wales and Nigeria, Rights Development as a Work in Progress. He was called to the bar in Nigeria in 2008 and was also certified as a professional negotiator and mediator in the same year. He specializes in general litigation and conveyancing, and his research interests include criminal law and procedure, the law of evidence, human rights, comparative law, and comparative criminal justice. In his spare time, he enjoys playing basketball and watching any sport. He's also a member of the Nigerian Bar Association and Secretary Panel 3 Disciplinary Committee of the NBA Port Harcourt branch between 2018 and 2020. He is joining us live via Zoom Oroho, W-A-O, Kocha. Can you confirm you can hear me, Oros?
Yes, I can hear you, and I hope we can. I'm also heard this morning.
Awesome. I can hear and see you, Oros. And ladies and gentlemen, you know, you meet some people and you know that these ones are meant to be game changers. She's truly a game changer. You know her already, our moderator. Let's welcome Inemesit DK. Inemesit, the stage is yours.
Good morning and welcome. It's so nice to be here. Good morning, sir. Good morning. It's nice to be here. Hello, Oros. Hi. Say hello. Say virtual high five. Hi. Okay, so this conversation we're going to be having today is talking about legacy, the Olympic touch of legal business. So first of all, before we start, I would like to express our condolences to your father, OCJ Okocha, SAN. We've got the information that he was bereaved this morning. So unfortunately, he cannot be with us in this Zoom panel. So please express on behalf of the Young Wigs Conference and the Legal Concierge, we'd like to express our sincere condolences, and we hope that God grants him peace in this loss.
Thank you.
Okay, so after this wonderful introduction with the people in this panel, I'm really excited for us to get started. So we're going to be talking to Mr. Wale Akani, his learned silk, and asking questions, all the questions that the young lawyers always ask me. Oh, how do we make it? How do we succeed? You know, how do I build a law firm that's actually going to last, take time and actually last? Now is the time for us to do this. So I hope you're sitting down. I'm not sure if online you're seeing my shoes, because I am definitely very comfortable. I am ready to rumble. So if you have any questions, please remember to go to our website, and you can also send your questions in on YouTube, and we would, ask as much as possible. So now let's get started. Sir, thank you for the privilege of having you here. We want to ask you some questions. You've been at the bar for so many years. With all these accomplishments that, we have heard and read about, do you still have mentors? Or have you sacked your mentors already? Let's know. What do you think? What's going on?
Thank you very much. I'm very happy and honored to be here. And I can't stop expressing my admiration for you as a person and for the work that you're doing for young lawyers and for the profession as a whole. I think this is just the beginning, and the sky for me is just the beginning for you. It's not the limit. And also, I need to correct something. People tend to think that without an appellation, things are not complete. I get called chief, doctor, and all that at different places, but I'm simply Mr. Wale Akani. I don't have a chieftaincy title, and I remain Wale Akani. Mentors. I think if you get to a point in your life where you think you don't need mentors anymore, then there's something wrong. There must be something that you are looking up to. Every day you wake up, there must be something that you're looking up to, that you're looking forward to, that you are aspiring to. And for me, you need to probably reassess your mentors as you go along in life. When you are a little boy, you will probably, or a little child, you see some people ahead and you think you want to be like them. When you get closer to them, you probably realize that, these are not the people I should try and be like. Then you look for other people. But you can't stop having mentors. I have mentors. I won't mention their names. But these are people who I continuously and continually have access to. Tap from their knowledge, tap from their wisdom, and drink from their fountain of knowledge. It's just impossible for you to go through life without having mentors.
I have retired judges, retired senior advocates, some practicing senior advocates, some business people who are the people who I associate with, who I continuously tap from. And you must not stop having mentors.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that. Before I just move on to this, I need to let you know that I'm mentioning my mentors right here. You're one of them. As for everything you have done, you as well as every other person, I mentioned to you behind the scenes that everything that has the Young Wigs conference is today is as a result of goodwill by people like you and a lot of others. So thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much.
Let me speak to this beautiful lady on my right, M.E., like we so call each other. Her name is Mabel, and I just want to ask you, heard what Mr. Connie was talking about. So now, how has mentorship helped you? You are the next generation candidate for Babalakin & Co. It's not a firm that you inherited. So please, give us a little bit of an insight of how you became the rising star, and you're the person because the battle will never be handed over to somebody who is standing still, right? So you must be moving. You must be going in some direction that is recognized as right. So please, let's hear you.
Thank you very much. I'm grateful for the opportunity to be here. Speaking of mentorship, the best way to describe it is when you're given the opportunity to stand on the shoulders of giants. And truly, that's what the law firm, Babalaki & Co. has offered me. So we have a whole lot of partners who are the finest and the most brilliant legal minds. And I get to interact with them on a daily basis. So you can't even begin to imagine the wealth of knowledge that I have acquired through the years, watching them, walking with them. They have become my role model. And that has enriched my practice so greatly. And this opportunity is something that keeps me, working tirelessly and has made me become, like you said, a shining star today. And I'm really grateful. And I think it's something that a whole lot of the new wigs would appreciate as they go along in their practice. You will work with partners, you will work with your bosses at work. You will find out that they'll become your number one role model. And that's been my experience so far.
Thank you so much, Amy. Now let me go on to Oros. Oros, who is watching us, part of us with Zoom. So now your father, who unfortunately can't be with us today, has been one of my role models and mentors for, as many years as you can think of. He's been at the very first Young Wigs conference, and every single time I pick up my phone to call him or ask him for anything, he makes time for me. So I, as a son and somebody that's been inheriting his law firm, what do you think about mentorship? What have you learned, apart from the fact that you're biologically related to him, and what have you observed from how he handles the law firm? Just give us an insight to how people can be like you.
Well, thank you very much, Helen, for the opportunity. I must start by cracking the joke and saying, I'm not trying to drive us to potential retirement just yet. So, yes, while I have been primed to take over control of the law firm someday, that day is next week. But, like the first two speakers have said, mentorship is very important. I continue to say that my father remains my greatest and most important inspiration in the field, in the profession. But I don't restrict myself to him as a mentor or as a role model. I'm privileged to have other mentors and role models who I'm able to gain access to and speak to on a constant and consistent basis, because I find that the practice of law is one that requires you to be responsive. Changes occur every day, and it's good to understudy somebody, but you must also find ways to improve on the practice. Not just because you have one eye on succession or on inheritance, but because success is the watchword, it's the key word of what we are doing. And so you must continue to allow these mentors to inspire you. And so yes, like you already said, I'm fortunate to observe him from a very short distance. I can literally walk into his office without being against him. I can literally sit there in silence while he's doing what he's doing. So I agree with all that has been said. Mentorship is very, very, very important. And looking at success, one must continue to be responsive to tweak the situation. Thank you.
So that, let me just take you up on that, what you just mentioned. Yes, you have the opportunity to, directly have direct access to him. I mean, what other people wouldn't have. But there are certain skills that you have gained as a good mentee. So, I mean, if you are in a room with your father, there are certain things you know that, yes, he's my dad, but as a mentee, these are the rules that I need to abide by. So do you want to share some of that with us? Because once we have opportunities to be with these mentors, we don't want to mess it up. So tell us what we can do so when we get in the door to remain in the room.
Well, I'm happy to use that phrase, because that's actually a phrase that I like, is that opportunity pushes you into a room, but you have to remain in the room. Some of the things that I've observed, and some of the things that allow me to maintain my relationship with my mentors, not just with him, with my other mentors, the art of being a good mentee is to listen. There's a phrase I like to use, because that really, when the MC was introducing me, he says I play basketball and I love to play basketball. There's a general statement when it comes to playing sports that you must learn the rules of the game before you try to change them. So before you realize that the rule is not working for you, you must first of all try to understand it. So what that does is that when you observe your mentor, for me, when I observe my own man in practice, what I do is I sit, I observe, I listen. Even if you think that you might know it on your own because I've been practicing law for some time, I've studied up to a PhD, even if you think that you know it on your own, you must first of all listen, take advice, before you try to put your own impact on it. You are a mentee, which means that you, in the relationship, are the one with more to gain from the mentor than the other way around.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Orazi. The mentee is the one that has more to gain. So, sir, I would like to ask you, what are the experiences you've had with mentees that have really, caused you to think twice? Have you had any negative relationships so that other people they see those ditches and they can avoid it? So what have you experienced and said, you know what, this person did this wrong, you've corrected the person, but let's put it out there so that other young lawyers don't make the same mistakes?
Thank you. For us human beings, we're a changing lot. Over the years, the young lawyer has changed from when we started practice to sometime in the middle till today. I don't know whether it's still the age of the millennials or something. So people are very different. One thing I have had to grapple with over the years in dealing with young people is to try to rejig my brain and my mind to the fact that these people are different from the way we were when we started. And it's something that is a continuing, is a recurring decimal each time. So you almost want to take some precipitate action because of the things that you feel that they're doing wrong. But you need to go back and think to yourself that, look, these are very different people. When we were young, I mean, it was black and white television, internet. Those things didn't exist. Social media, mobile phones, and all that. Today, the young person knows what happened in New York 1 hour ago. So he knows what is happening. In our days, football, for instance, today everybody knows what happens in the league. Then we had people who, we all loved football teams abroad, but who was able to watch Premier League matches? But so it's very important that, so for me, what I found is more like the opposite. It's like, at the beginning, I was focusing on the things they were doing wrong. They were doing not so good and all that. But later on, I began to realize that in order to be able to work with them and actually help them better, I needed to understand them and try to realize that things have changed and they are the ones that own the future. We will not be here, God save our lives, in a few more years to come. So they are the ones that is the way I see it.
Thank you so much. So you means that the young lawyers are the ones that hold the future. So even while, they are trying to seek information and trying to learn from the seniors, the older generation needs to be willing to adapt to what the young lawyer has to bring to the table. And I find that's really been a recurring circumstance. That's why the Young Wigs Conference started in the first place. Because the young lawyers kept saying, you know what, all we do is take a date. Like, you just tell us, go and get an adjournment. Why can't we be trusted to be a part of the nitty-gritty of the brief? So I would like to pose the next question to you, Ms. Mabel. What has been the major challenges that you experienced, not just with Babalaki Nako, generally in life, while you were growing up from, your cult bar to now? What experiences, family, how were you able to juggle this? Tell us some of the major experiences and how you've been able to overcome them to be the one that's sitting in the seat right now.
Well, to be very, very honest with you, I'm a very passionate and I'm self-motivated and I'm very driven. If I think about it now, I can hardly remember those challenges. And I guess that's one secret of my success. I set my goals and I have my eyes on the ball. And once you do that, you're focused and you will rarely pay attention to what those challenges are. So if you ask me right now what those challenges are, I don't remember. We're getting to the end of the year. And my mindset right now is 2021 is around the corner. I'm thinking about the things I want to do. I'm thinking like time is short. I'm thinking like I need to achieve so much. How do I get this done? And I have just 24 hours every day. I wish I could multiply 24 hours to 48 hours a day. Unfortunately, I can't. And I know what I do in the firm. I know the practice. I know the cases I have. And so there's just so much, and there's little time to focus on the challenges. So I'm looking at where I am going to. Imagine if you're running and if you're driving. It's hard to see the obstacles. You're looking at your goal. And I think that's the way to change the narrative. I think if you're more inclined to getting to your destination, you won't pay attention to the challenges. So my word out here is, you need to be clear as to where your destination is. And once you have that, things will change.
So for me, I'm just going to take everything she just said and interpret it in one word. Face forward. Face forward. Don't forget about what has been going on before. Forget the COVID. Forget things that have happened, gone wrong, everything. I mean, people can throw stones at you. Things can go wrong. You have no idea how. In fact, some of the facilitators at this year's event have actually done the pre-recorded sessions while in isolation, suffering from COVID. So, I mean, it's been a crazy year, but guess what she just said? Face forward. Just keep your face like this and forget the past and run and run and run. I would like to now talk to Oros, and I want to ask you a question. You are so accomplished, Mr. PhD. You know, you've arrived. Yes, you still go and play basketball and you're looking good. Okay, but what are your greatest weaknesses? What are the weaknesses you've had even while you have gone on this trajectory? And how have you overcome them? Because the idea is to let young lawyers realize that you and I, everybody sitting right here, is exactly how they are. Those who don't have parents to send them to law school, because I have a lot of them in our community who say, look, I'm studying law, but I don't know how I'm going to pay my law school fees. My father just died, or I had a first class, but I fell sick during law school and I came out with a 2-2. Now I feel like everything is doomed. I've got these huge weaknesses. I don't have a background, like I didn't have a law background or somebody to teach me. What are the weaknesses? What are the issues you've had, and how have you overcome them?
That's a very, very, very interesting question. Forgive me, but I don't think I have weaknesses. Or the way that I say it is that my greatest weakness is the same strength that I have, in that I do too much. I work very hard. I play very hard. And for me, it's a perceived weakness because to some people, when they think, oh, legacy, oh, he wants to be this, he wants to for me, like I said, everything that I do, I think my problem is that I do too much. You and I have spoken. I think one of the meetings we had leading up to this conference, we met on Sunday. And when you asked me how my day had been, I told you I was coming from work. And right after our meeting, I was on the way to basketball. And so for me, in answering your question without really answering it, I think that my greatest strength and my greatest weakness are the same. In that everything that I do, I think I do too much.
Thank you so much for that. Mr. Wale Anakode, I have to just, ask you this. We've heard everything that you've mentioned. So now we are thinking about tomorrow. We're talking about technology. The young lawyer says, I want to be where Mr. Wale is sitting right now. I have all these tools available to me. What do I need? First of all, should I focus on that, or should I just, continue to read, go to law school, follow the same thing so I can be like where he is right now? With everything that's happened with technology, with all the clients that you have internationally, please talk to us about your thoughts. Tell us, if you were just getting called to bar today, what would you do differently?
I'm not sure I'll do anything differently. You see, the most important thing for me as a lawyer is knowledge acquisition. It's the beginning for me and probably the end as well. Whatever technological aid you're going to apply in the future or to whatever you're doing, you need to have the knowledge first of all. You see, okay, I tell my colleagues in the office, the first thing I do, I start off with any instruction, like as if I don't know anything at all. I always tell them, I start off like, I don't know, even if I just did one last week, I start off like as if I don't know anything. I go into the books, I read, I understand. You see, it's like, as Mr. Okocho said, if you're going to change the rules of a game, you need to understand the rules. You have to know the rules first of all. So, the only way you can know whether to apply a principle or an authority or whatever it is because you understand the basic principles of law. Then you can tell yourself that decision is wrong. Or I won't apply that decision because it's not on all fours with my case. I'm going to do this differently, I'm going to do that differently because you know. But if you don't know, and you're starting off with the technology, they said there's some application that if I put in the facts of my case, I'll get the answer. You will never learn the principles. So, you start off with the principles, and that is what I think has really, really helped me. When we started, and I can't but mention Dr. Balak, the senior partner of my firm. When we were working earlier in the day, everybody, when you come in, the first few weeks of your stay in the firm, you're supposed to go and read the Evidence Act, read the rules of court, read the Constitution. The fact that you did it in the university is of no moment. You have to acquire that, understand those principles. Then the rest flows. As for technology, we can't understand it enough because it's changing every day and it's going to keep on changing. People are afraid that maybe very soon we'll not need lawyers anymore because everything is going to become computerized, artificial intelligence and all that. But I say, for as long as we're human beings and we're still alive, we will continue to require to use our brains. And the way our brains are structured, God is just so masterful. There's no way we can understand it. And I think we should not focus on what technology, how it will change things or make things more difficult for us. Let us see how we can adopt it and adapt it to assist us. We need to be focused, we need to understand technology itself and see how well we can use it to make our job a lot easier, make our ability to earn money a lot easier. At the end of the day, we all want to be successful. We want to have money in our bank accounts and live good lives. That is where all this is going to. Thank you.
So thank you. So let me just repeat for us that are paying attention right now. He says, so before the end of this year, I want every young lawyer who is subscribed to following us, listen to what Mr. Kone just mentioned. He said, read the Evidence Act, read the rules of court, read the Constitution. It doesn't matter whether you're a lawyer or a law student. Have basic information, have basic understanding of the principles. So when you have the opportunity to meet with these mentors, you're not blank in the brain. So when they put you in a room, you should have something to contribute and bring to the table. So that's the reason for this Young Wigs conference. You don't just say, oh, you know what, I'm on social media, I've got a huge number of following, and they ask you something and you just go off on a tangent. No, you must basically understand the principles and then have the benefit of youth and have the technology as the icing on the cake, not the substance of the cake itself. So yes, please, sir, please go ahead.
I'm just going to add, you see, a lot of people have these highfalutin ideas about wanting to specialize, oil and gas, technology, finance, this and that. The truth of the matter is that all these things are founded on those fundamental principles of law that they teach us when we're in the university. Contracts, torts, jurisprudence, and things like that. An oil and gas deal is contract. There's really nothing. It's just a specialized type of contract. So if you don't have those basic contract principles at the back of your mind, and you just want to be an oil and gas lawyer, and you are not solid in contract, then you're just wasting your time.
I totally agree, because I worked in oil and gas for a while, and I really, really enjoy. It's something I can wake up just like others to go play basketball. Just give me a bulky contract. You don't need to pay me. I'll read it through and I would enjoy. But I had to have that basic understanding of contracting in itself in order for me to discover that this is what I like to enjoy. And then I became an oil and gas lawyer. Do you see the trend? It has to go from foundation before, and then you keep growing. So I want to just ask you, Ms. Mabel, now, social media is a very big part of our lives. You have Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, social media, basically. So, with the rules of evidence, that rules of professional practice, that we are not allowed to advertise as legal practitioners, right? What else can we do while we are on social media? Remembering the fact that we are still legal practitioners, the fact that we are on social media bearing the name, maybe Oros A, and then our Supreme Court's our call to bar certificate is saying our full name. It doesn't separate our identities, right? So what can we do even while being on social media, bearing the fact that with the fact that we're already lawyers, to make sure that we can further enhance the integrity of the legal practice, but still have fun the way other people are? So please just talk to us about that.
Very quickly, I'd like to add, for my master's class, I hold a master's in international business law. I undertook 3 modules, one of which was e-commerce. I always knew that technology was an enabler for us in law practice, so I positioned myself very early. I took international finance and then litigation as well. But there was something I learned from my master's class from one of my professors, and he said, social media is here to stay, the internet is here to stay, but as lawyers, you must be very careful how and the brand you put out on the media. It never goes away, and it could come back and haunt you in the future. So I learned first and foremost that I had to be intentional. I also recognize that I'm a brand. So when you talk about firms consist of individuals who have very strong brands. So you're bringing something to the table, you're adding value. When you get to the social media, what are you doing? What do you represent? Who are you? What message do you have, and what do you put out there? You start learning very early in practice that to add value in the firm, you're bringing your knowledge, your skill, your expertise. You're also networking. You're going to become a fee earner. You're meant to use all of this together. They're a potpourri. They're all available. So how you use them, you must use them very smartly. You must use them very intelligently to the value, one, for your firm and for yourself. So you're a brand. So, you're just not on social media for, oh, you have to be there. It's the next great thing. But you have to be very careful. I look to the magic circle firms. I mean, they've been my benchmark. I had the opportunity of schooling in Queen Mary in London. And for each module, for each class, the partners in these firms come and they talk to you. So when I go out there, I check. Every now and again, I'm still checking those websites. I'm looking at what they're saying. I'm looking at the latest experience, what the events are, the papers that they're writing, and what they're doing. So all of these put together helps me know what content you have to put out there. Okay, so after the COVID, everyone was particular about our contract, frustration, you know what is trending, you can speak to it. They're all very relevant. One thing that is very key is in commercial practice or in law practice, you really have to be commercially aware. To stay relevant, you must know what is happening out there. And so that's what social media has done for us. That's what the internet has done for us. Like the speed of light, you have access to information. You know this thing. So it's very important. Your views, you find in the US, you're appointing a judge to the Supreme Court and they are digging up comments that she's made in the past. And it's coloring who she's perceived as today. And so that's something young lawyers must pay particular attention to. The things you put out there in the social media, how you say the things you do, and it goes a whole long way. And that's something that I think.
Okay, just quickly, I would like Mr. Ross to please speak to that. But before that, I just want to mention that everything you just said here right now also applies to law students. So law students, you always come to me and say, you know what, I'm not a lawyer yet, so it doesn't really matter. It does. It really does matter who you are, what you do, even before you get called to bar. So whether you're a lawyer, you're not allowed to practice law. So you can always state, in my opinion. You state your opinion. You're not giving legal advice. You're not practicing law, but you're stating your legal opinion. Guess what? People are watching and waiting. Once you finally have the certificate of call and you can actually practice, it is your circle, people that have known about you, your little ripple that you had started, that would maybe your first client. So it's very important, the kind of persona that you are, that you're putting out there, your brand. She said she knows that she's a brand. So that's the information I want you to take away today. You are a brand. So you have to be intentional about making that decision, even while you're in law school. So Oros, I don't know if you just please speak to that quickly before we round up the session.
Yes, to be entirely honest, like she said, like Ms. Mabel said, social media needs to be careful with the language put out there. In his pre-recorded session, Osije Kocha will tell you that social media is a great communication tool, and that is perhaps what it is helping us do as lawyers. Ultimately, though, we must remember that we must be state and proper persons. You must be careful what sort of message you put out there. You must be careful how you present yourself, and you must be bound by the professional conduct. So try to limit the amount of advertisement that you do, and try to limit the amount of soliciting from jobs that you do on the internet. Because like you rightly said, even to law students who have not yet been called to the bar, and like Ms. Mabel said, the internet contains information. So you might put something out today thinking it's harmless, but then 5-6 years down the line, someone will dig up the comment that you made. Even if I must make a personal point, and I say, like I said earlier, I have some great weaknesses that I do too much. So I play too much, I work too much. Anybody who is following the social media account, social media account, even if every now and then I put out this information, I'm very grateful with social media. Yeah. However, as I said, with the RPC and trying to be fit and proper at the back of the head, there's actually a limit as to what I actually put out. Thank you.
So basically your network is your net worth, right? So, and you can build that network even while you're still an undergrad. I mean, I have a lot of these mentees who are brilliant, by the way. I just want to say to all the law students who are watching right now, you are so brilliant. Like, we really love the fact that you're so passionate about the practice of law. I mean, the future is dope because of you guys. Just before the panel ends right now, I just have one more question that has been repeated over and over and over. Many young lawyers have always been asking us, okay, now I don't have any connects. I don't know anybody up there. How can I what are the things that I need to do? What are the pitfalls I need to avoid in order for me to have an easy, not necessarily easy, but an easier pathway to becoming a partner? So I'm going to ask Mr. Wale Akoni right now, that's the last question for this panel, and say, you're a partner, but not a founding partner of Babalakin & Co. What are the things that you did and that got you to the position where you are today? As well as what advice do you have for young lawyers who want to walk in your footsteps, who say, look, I want to be able to get to the position of being a partner, even in a firm, in one of the big law firms that I have not necessarily founded? Please, thank you very much.
Thank you. Before I deal with that, I want to just talk about social media. It's a little aside. I have a phobia for social media. I don't have a Facebook account, I don't have Instagram account, I don't have anything. I mean, when I read some of these comments that people are passing among themselves, I just wonder that, how do you guys do it? I mean, they're trolling, I mean, there are different names that they call them. I just run away from it, but it's something, and I told my colleagues in the office when they started that the firm needs to have a social media presence and all that. I said, please go ahead, you are the young people, you know what to do, but please, 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 don't let us get into trouble. Because at the end of the day, be very careful what you post. Because as Mabel said, there's a brand issue here. What you're going to hear is Babalaki & Co did this, not XYZ did and all that. Now, as for how one goes up from the bottom to the top in a law firm, for professional services, all of us, what we're looking forward to doing at the end of the day is working for ourselves, either alone or together with other people. So if you set up your practice by yourself and you're doing it all alone, it's there. But when you're trying to work with other people in partnership, then there's so many things that you just need to pay attention to. As I said, knowledge. It's too crucial. But at a point, the fact that you are knowledgeable and you are able to do the work becomes it becomes a given. So you cannot continue to say that I'm a very good lawyer, therefore I need to be a partner. The point is that after a while, I will expect all partners to be able to, or all people who are aspiring to partnership to be able to do the work. The next thing is, how do you deal with clients? Client management. Managing other people. Supervising people. And then being able to bring income to the firm. Because at the end of the day, you may be one of the best lawyers in town, but you don't get any work into the firm. At the end of the day, it's the bottom line that matters. So it's a combination of a lot of things. So at the beginning, you spend most of your time focusing on acquiring knowledge, expertise, and experience. But you will discover that as you're going along, you're also learning the tools of the trade, how to interact with clients, how to manage clients. Because you see, if you have a client and the client is not satisfied, he won't come back. And not only will he not come back, he will demarcate you outside. Oh, that firm, don't mind them, I give them some work to do and they didn't do it well. So it's bad enough that he doesn't come back to you, but he also discourages people who want to come to you as well. So you need to be able to manage clients and all that. Then as you go along, you also begin to demonstrate to your seniors in the firm that you too have your own network of people who can give you work because they trust you, they know that you can do the work well, so you begin to attract business. So by the time you are being able to do good legal work, manage, and then also manage juniors in the office. Because if you don't supervise people and supervise them well, there would also be a problem. So it's a continuing build-up. So by the time you get to the point, so when the assessment is being made, all that is taken into consideration. And as I said, at the end of the day, Where's the money? Where's the money?
Thank you very much. Thank you so much, Sabi. I'm very, very excited that for every member of this panel today, you have, poured out your heart, and it has just been very exciting. I would like the young lawyers and the law students to just go back with this. Your network is your net worth. You have, even in the firm, your individual network matters as much. You have to be able to manage up with the founding partners, as well as manage down with the people that you are supervising. And I want to use myself as an example. Everything you see at the Young Wigs Conference consistently has been as a result of goodwill. Goodwill that I have generated with one person that has recommended me to another person. I mean, somebody has something to say, okay, no problem, I'll pick up the phone and I'll call that person for you. So you never know when you throw a stone in the riverbank or in the pond. You never know when you have start a ripple, how far that ripple will go. So if there's anything that you must remember as a result of this panel, remember that your individual network is as good as your network, and it will take you all through your years of legal practice. So on that note, I would like to say thank you very much, sir. Thank you so much, Oros. Thank you so much for being a wonderful panelist. It has been amazing. I'm very sure that I will get a lot of feedback, which we'll still put out there for you to know, about how to build a law firm, how to build a legacy, how to receive the Olympic torch, and how to hand it over to the next generation. So that's what I would like to say. Thank you very much for coming to Young Wigs Conference 2020. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Those of you online, if we can just show them some appreciation with those emojis. Can the three of you just take a picture? Rose, can I represent you in this picture?
Yes, go ahead.
Where's the photographer? Please go ahead. Go ahead, take the picture, Rose, just that my PS is not as full as yours. But I'll try.
It's a work in progress.
So Rose, we're putting you in the picture now. We have you in the picture.
Oh, that's awesome. Let me smile.
Somewhere here. Somewhere should be good, right?
Are you looking for legal services and you think it's too hard or too expensive? Are you tired of engaging lawyers without knowing their specific niche and area of expertise? Are you a senior lawyer in search of a temporary lawyer to assist you in a brief in a faraway state? Do you simply want to know the full cost of legal service before you start the journey? Search no more. With the touch of a button, Legal X guides you on what kind of lawyer you need and where they are around your location. Download Legal X and set your world in motion. Are you looking for legal services and you think it's too hard or too expensive? Are you tired of engaging lawyers without knowing their specific niche and area of expertise? Are you a senior lawyer in search of a temporary lawyer to assist you in a brief in a faraway state? Do you simply want to know the full cost of legal service before you start the journey? Search no more. With the touch of a button, Legal X guides you on what kind of lawyer you need and where they are around your location. Download Legal X and set your world in motion. Are you looking for legal services and you think it's too hard or too expensive? Are you tired of engaging lawyers without knowing their specific niche and area of expertise? Are you a senior lawyer in search of a temporary lawyer to assist you in a brief in a faraway state? Do you simply want to know the full cost of legal service before you start the journey? Search no more. With the touch of a button, Legal X guides you on what kind of lawyer you need and where they are around your location. Download Legal X and set your world in motion.
Okay, so
Are you looking for legal services and you think it's too hard or too expensive? Are you tired of engaging lawyers without knowing their specific niche and area of expertise?
Okay, so welcome back. That was quite an incisive session. I'm sure you've been told from a very senior colleague what you need to do to grow, in a firm, to become a partner, a managing partner. But as it is well known, the goal of every lawyer, as he said, is to either work for yourself or work for yourself with someone. So, all of the things that has been said, how you can better represent yourself on social media, how you can better represent yourself with your clients, and have a lot of foot soldiers. Foot soldiers are the people that make the business grow. I'm sure all of those things have come together for you in this just concluded session. But we're continuing, and this time we are going straight into the business of telling you about the latest technology in town that would help you meet the right clients and that will help your clients find you. So you have studied, you are ready, you are practicing, and you are looking to find the right kind of clients, just as clients are looking to find the right kind of lawyers. There needs to be that platform that brings all of this together and gives everyone that win-win situation that they are looking for. That is what we want to talk to you about. And by the way, if you have any question, you can go ahead and ask a question. Whatever you would like these senior colleagues to talk about, ask them. Go on the website, ask on the YouTube channel. Legal Concierge will come back to you with answers to whatever questions that you have. So do not shy away from asking questions. It's always said, I would like to have a mentor. I like to have a mentor. I will be surprised if I do not see questions from especially the young wigs who are on this call, who are online watching. Every time you have an opportunity to interact with senior colleagues, you just have to ask them the right questions. From all that has been said here this afternoon, I can tell that you've walked away from that session with at least how you can approach a mentor when you find one, So ask those questions. You need to keep those questions coming. Anyways, we're going now into the product launch, the latest thing in town as long as technology and the legal practice is concerned. Uber has come to bridge the gap between the man who needs a ride as quick as they need it in a convenient manner with the person who has a vehicle to provide the ride. Uber did that. Now, very many companies have also come to meet needs in different areas. There is that need where clients are saying, I need a lawyer for this, I need a lawyer for that. How can they meet you and how can you interact with them? That is the next thing you just pay attention to, and let us walk you through this new technology in the legal business. Let's welcome back, and let me say, DK. Let me say, she's going to talk us through this new technology in the legal profession.
Okay. Hi everyone. So just before we close up, I would like to talk about something that's new and amazing. And we had this idea in the year 2016. What happened? I was a mother of 3 kids. I was harassed on a daily basis because I was overwhelmed with domestic work and I tried to maintain legal practice. And then I noticed that the men that were in my class, that were in University of Lagos, they had, the opportunity to go to work and come back, and they were able to make deals that I couldn't make. So for example, my friends would say, oh, you know what, I'm having a drink with my friends after work, and I didn't have that privilege. I had to go rush back home to take care of my kids, and I seemed to be losing out of where the discussions, the tables that were being discussed. And then so I had this problem, and I started talking about it to other people. How can we leverage on the knowledge that we've already gained in law school and gained on our experiences in order for us to be able to function, even irrespective of our personal circumstances? And that grew into an idea which we call Legal X. So we started in 2016. We tried to figure out a way to make this work, and now we are here today to present it to you. And this idea really is for you. It's to help you, everybody who gets out of law school, who has no idea where marriage will take you. You may have been living in Lagos and in Abuja all your life. You get married and you go to Ekiti, or you go to a place where you don't know anybody, and you really want to actually continue legal practice. We are bringing you this product for you to be able to practice law from the comfort of your home, irrespective of your location. We are also focusing on Nigerians, people who have been called to the Nigerian bar, but are living in the diaspora. I mean, the world is a global village right now, so there's no reason why you have gotten called to the Nigerian bar and you are working now in the US or in the UK, but you have to wait until you qualify to practice there before you can continue practicing law. So we are saying, as far as you're following all the rules of professional ethics and you're paying up your dues, you should be able to, serve the community with your knowledge of legal practice, and you should be able to, so that there will always be an evolution. You heard what the Nigerian Bar Association president was talking about how we are ensuring that legal practice is growing in evolution. And so that's why we are bringing to you today the app called Legal X. So Legal X is available for you to download, but let me just run us through right now. What is Legal X? Legal X functions basically as Uber. So I'm going to talk to us, not the legalese, but I'm going to talk to us like one of us, right? So Legal X just functions as Uber. You're sitting at home, so a client, just imagine the Legal X client. He's jogging, he's sweating out, he's working in a cafe, and he needs legal services. But he doesn't want the hassle of having to go to one air-conditioned law office and, have to actually go through the entire process of speaking and asking questions. He just says, you know what? The Legal X client today wants it fast, wants it quick, wants it at the tip of his fingers and within his budget. So what does he do? He comes on the app Legal X and says, look, I need a lawyer for a tax-related issue. I need a lawyer for police, or I need a lawyer for criminal matters in Zamfara or any other country, where any other situation that he finds himself. And there's a list of lawyers who are already established on the platform. And this list of lawyers is not as confusing as what he gets on Google. So on Google, you go right now and you just tell lawyers in Nigeria. Okay, so you see different names. The names that keep reoccurring are the ones who have the opportunity to go through the search engine optimization are the ones you see first. But I've had many clients come to me and say, oh, I went to a particular lawyer and I gave the person the brief, but along the way, I had to change my legal representative because I found out that they are not well abreast of my particular brief. So I would have liked to know whether this particular lawyer that is serving me is the particular person in my niche. So I want not just a general practitioner, I want to be able to make these choices, and I want to make them before I pay them. So I don't just want to stumble along and then find out that, oh, this lawyer is much of an expert, but it's not really what I needed right now. I would have needed a lawyer who is an expert in this. So Legal X offers you that opportunity for you to see the kind of lawyer that you want prior to paying them. Can I have the next slide, please? So, so we are talking about, Legal X clients who wants an easy service anywhere and at any time. And we are also thinking about people who may not necessarily have as much money to take care of, people assume, let's be honest with ourselves, we are all lawyers and we are law students. They say, oh, I don't need legal services. I'll rather Google it up because I feel it's really expensive. Or right now, I'm not in trouble yet. Is it not when I have a problem in the police or there's an issue, then I have to go get a lawyer? Right now, let us just use our sense. Let's discuss. But we know, you and I know that the clients make those mistakes prior to them engaging us. If we were available prior to then and we are available in a gig format, it will be a lot easier to provide legal services to anybody and everywhere. So imagine this. In the year 2000, we didn't have telecommunications as grand as it is right now. The MTN was the first one that broke ground. Before then, we had the 090s, the 090s, and the Turayas. You couldn't ever imagine that a Suya man or somebody that was, selling in the market, and a Kao woman who handles briefs money, that just handles small businesses, would ever use a phone call. It seemed unimaginable. Today, 20 years after, it's a regular thing. That is the world that we see. see that it's not the future. We are saying today is the future for that to happen. So instead of the farmer, the market woman, the suya man to say, look, you know what, we don't need lawyers. We are saying right now they can get it at the touch of the button once they register on LegalX. And it's as easy as ABC. So from our couch to the world, I keep saying this, we don't need to move from where we are in order to get a lawyer. So imagine two suya men having a conversation, are about to go into a business deal, and they say, you know what, this contract, let us just call one lawyer. Make we call on one lawyer to just come and look at it. If we don't have money, but let's see. We'll be able to say, oh no, this one offers the same service for 50,000. But the other one has 5-star. But you go get more sense. Okay, let me look at it to see if he has served this business before. So I'm breaking this down in a pidgin for you to imagine what your future clients will be like. And they have this conversation. I say, okay, I like this one face. Okay, it'd be like saying, you know, waiting I want. And then he looks at it, clicks on his button, pays you right there and then. You're online, you get a notification that this client has actually asked for you, and you see the brief before you accept. So it functions basically like Uber, but instead of Uber for transportation, this is basically Uber for lawyers. And guess what? The client has the opportunity to see your profile, so you don't have to advertise yourself. Your profile of what you've actually done is right there. You can receive online services, payments for your legal services. And guess what? When they are done, do you know the way your client comes to you and say, senior, you have done well. Lawyer, barrister, you have done well. All those things they are saying that to you as an individual. Why don't they have the opportunity to say that to you in a way that other people will hear it too? What they are saying is true. You're not the one saying it for yourself. They are the ones saying it. So LegalX offers them the opportunity to say, you know, to rate you and say, look, he attended to my services within time. He was quick. He was smart. He was affordable. I will use him or her again. And that's very comfortable for the client. So imagine if your client is as easy, you have a client as easy as ABC. Now let's talk about you as a lawyer. You work in a law firm. You still have your legal business. You're still operating in your physical space. However, you're also available online. So guess what? You're taking back control of your legal practice. You may decide, you know what, like I was having a conversation with a very interesting lady, 4 days ago, and she said, you know, when I got out of law school, I knew that litigation wasn't for me. I just knew it. I had little children, and I was living in Lagos. Marriage brought me to Abuja, and I knew litigation wasn't for me. So I decided, what can I do? I still have all this knowledge. How can I still be a legal practitioner? And now LegalX solves that problem. All you have to do is sign up with your email address and your certificate of call. You're verified as a lawyer, and you are available for anybody and everybody. So guess what? You're sitting at home. You're taking care of your children who are doing online schools. You're talking to your aged mother who gets to see you, and then your services are not so expensive because of the laws of demand and supply. It's been easy for you, as easy as at the touch of the button, to provide these legal services. You can choose your timing. When you're online, you can be online and available for these services. You can also say, you know what, I want to work 4 times a week. I don't want to work 5 days a week. So you press it and you go off, and you're offline. As long as you're offline, nobody can get in touch with you. But as long as you are online, then you are available for work. So imagine if you handle as many little, we call it little, but little drops of water make up the mighty ocean. So and then guess what? You don't need to pay anything to join LegalX. I needed to just mention that because I'm sure the lawyers are now thinking this is expensive. No, it's absolutely free. But you must actually fulfill everything it takes for you to practice law in Nigeria. You must also fulfill that. So right now, I want you to go, just check it out on our website, www.thelegalconcierge.org, and then you'll see information about LegalX there. So right now, I'm just giving you this information as the lawyers. The full information is going to go out, and the advert to go out for the clients from the 1st of January. But it's as easy as ABC. I want to imagine a future where you have taken back control of your legal practice. It is no longer anybody who has the capacity to sign off and to terminate you. That person controls you. As long as you have your certificate of call, you can practice law anywhere, anytime. It doesn't matter whether you're living in Asia or whether you're living in any part of Europe, you're living in America, or you just decided that, you know what, you want to take care of your family. So the concept of a lawyer who is now a stay-at-home parent does not exist. You can be in the kitchen, you can be doing whatever it is you're doing and still function in legal practice. I would like to say that everything we've learned today and which you're going to continue to learn as part of the pre-recorded sessions from this conference talks to you about focusing on your principles. So yes, in law school, we learned the principles. After law school, you have gone to mentors and mentees. You have studied. You have gained the knowledge. Now we are giving you the visibility you need. You heard the MBA president speak earlier and say he was going to partner with the legal concierge in how to ensure that legal practice in Nigeria is evolved from where it is today to where it ought to be. Now imagine yourself realizing that you don't need to travel. You don't need to travel. COVID has taught us that we don't need to get up and go anywhere. We can have all our meetings and functions online. Right now, you're not here with me, but you are listening to me. You're like very much alive and engaged in this session. That's the same thing for legal practice. Your lawyer, your client can see you before they choose you. Your client can also put the accolades about you on the platform. You don't need to do much more than that. So today, I encourage you to become a legal ex-lawyer. Go on our platform. If you have any questions, please send us an email at info@thelegalconcierge.org. Let me say that again. info@thelegalconcierge.org. Just send us a mail, and then we are willing to work with you and help you to build your future. And remember, your future is today. Today is that future that I've always been talked about. Thank you very much. As at this juncture, I am going to just give the closing remarks because this is the end of the live session. After this, you will please go online on our pages and watch the pre-recorded sessions. We have quite a very rich array for you, and it is free. We've got senior lawyers of all caliber. We've also had people from other industries teach on core areas. So let me just give you a rundown of some of the topics that you can be looking at, getting ready to listen to after this. We've got people speaking about, let me just read it out to you. We've got beers and bars, the art of the deal. At the Young Wigs Conference, Legal Concierge, we don't believe that we should be stereotypical. So we focus on what law school doesn't teach you. So we are not asking you to study civil procedure or criminal procedure. We're trying to make it fun. And trust me, it is fun. So our facilitators are in T-shirts, they're in sneakers like myself. They are young, they're not old, they're struggling to explain to you something. No, it's fun. Please learn as much as you can. So imagine the conversation that happened behind over a bottle of beer, that you can't be there. This business consultant is going to be teaching you the rudiments of the art of the deal. We've got oil and gas for the non-technical professional. So if you're like me, you're going to go into the oil and gas profession just before you go for that interview. Or let's say you've gotten the job and you don't understand the terminology. What are they even saying? All these engineers, what are they even saying? You need to study and listen to what he's going to break it down in terms of the oil value chain as well as the gas value chain. We've got an expert speaking on insolvency law. This is a niche area that you may want to be learn about, and it's a revenue generating one too. We've got Mr. Wale Akani, who is teaching to taught us on the intricacies of project financing. I mean, if you look at his biography, you find out that he has been a very key player in most of these major project financing arrangements and transactions. So you need to sit down and listen. There's also the topic, the untaught features of 21st century litigation. We've got OCJ or Kocha SAN, as well as Mr. Wale Akani, that has spoken on the same topic. We also have the ace of technology in litigation. So if you get out of law school and say, you know what, the court is it for me, but I need to know a little bit more. So that's exactly what you need to learn. How are we using technology in today's 21st century litigation? It's all on the platform. We've got legal business in the power sector. Mr. George Etomi, a renowned lawyer in the power sector. In fact, I believe he's one of the foremost lawyers in that sector. He's teaching about how to get into the legal business. Where is the money and how to manage it when you get there. We've got project management, the tax collector. So anything that has to do with tax. So you've read about it in law school. Now what? So they're learning the practical realities of the tax collector. The art of continuing education. We have a video on that, a very well in-depth video. Everything we've spoken about at this conference talks about the need for you to continue education. In fact, that's why you're here. So he's giving you the rudiments, the courses, what you need to do. So please do yourself a favor and listen to this for free. We've also got intellectual property and technology. Is it a duet or a duo? So are they working hand in hand, or does it have to clash? We've got Building Africa Silicon Valley by SAN Atoyebi. It's very in-depth. Africa Silicon Valley refers to the need for lawyers to be able to understand the world of tech developers, how to handle the liabilities, how to handle them as clients, how to represent them, and how to ensure that our clients that they are working for are also well taken care of. We've got Artificial Intelligence and the Lawyer, taken by the professor of law in Canada. He's talking on this topic, the cracking the code. We've also got another topic called Smart Contracts and Blockchain by the chairperson of the NBA SBL of the ICT committee. He's talking about smart contracts. Right now, you're typing your contract, you're looking at normal boilerplate clauses. Already in the world, there are contracts that are already smart, meaning you don't need to do anything extra in order for you to enforce those contracts. Those contracts are in existence in their own. So in order for you to be able to manage those contracts, how are you the boss of this robotic technology? You need to watch Smart Contracts and Blockchain. We've got the Virtual Wall Street. Virtual Wall Street basically talks about fintech, how to get into fintech, how to represent your client, and how to be a part of that. We've got an aspect of law that I call the neuroscience of law. Now, this is very interesting because I stumbled a lot along the path of legal practice, and the things that I failed at and the things that I succeeded at, I was able to get people who have been experts at it, and I say, you know what, come and teach us. So, for example, we have rules of engagement, the workplace etiquette. Yes, you get a job, and then you're very knowledgeable, like Mr. Kani said, and you're very smart, but you have horrible work ethics. Your response mails, you don't respond to your mails on time, or when you respond, there's no preamble. You just go, please, I do not know. There are certain things that you need to respond in your mail. There are certain mail trails. How do you work with mail trails? Are you sending out individual mails, or are you sending mail trails? When you're saying, please refer to, are you copying everybody in the law firm? These are things that irritate people that may not let you get to partner position. So workplace etiquette for lawyers is a video that is available. It's a resource that wasn't available when we were there. So I appeal to you lawyers, young lawyers, law students, don't wait until you get called to bar. Learn these things now. I have a group of young lawyers that I personally mentor, about 300 of them, and trust me, being a good mentee is as important as getting the opportunity. So if you have an opportunity to mentor with me and you're already making mistakes, naturally, I will focus on those who are already perfectly aligned with what they're doing. So just to round this off, we've got law firm management. Law firm management talks about, like we discussed here, you want to set up your law firm, you've gotten some sort of experience. What can you do to make sure your law firm is scalable? It's something, do you want to collaborate? Do you want to, position yourself the way it says, say, in MSDK and co, and then thereby set up yourself for competition? The conversation is out there for you to listen, and then please send us your feedback. On that note, I would like to say thank you very, very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We have come to the end of the live session today, but please, the pre-recorded sessions are available at www.academy.thelegalconcierge.org. We have a training platform where you can go and observe and learn and just, be better. Even letter writing, how do you, it's not, some things are not typographical errors, but grammatical errors that need to be corrected. We are lawyers, we can teach one another. If each one can reach one, then each one can teach one. And imagine what a much beautiful Nigeria that we could get. So that quote came from Charles B. of blessed memory, but that applies to us today. As long as we are willing to learn, then we should be willing to share that information, and we should be willing to grow. As long as there's one person called a charge and bail lawyer, then all of us are charge and bail lawyers. We, in Nigeria, we churn out more than 5,000 lawyers every year. Trust me, we are the most populous country when it comes to legal practice. We have the numbers. We also have the attention of the international world when it comes to technology. Let's use the Mark Zuckerberg visit and let's use an investment, and let's use the Paystack acquisition by Stripe. You don't need a blind man to tell you what is going on in your country today. So lawyers, we need to get more involved in technology. We need to know that this is the time. And Nigerian lawyers, you are the key to the future. We don't need to wait for any other person outside Africa to tell us what to do. We are here today and we are doing our best. So on that note, I would like to say our deepest gratitude at the Legal Concierge goes to God Almighty for grit and for grace of consistent excellence. To all our wonderful facilitators who have helped us beat the odds of this virtual conference, some of whom who have even defied the COVID-19 pandemic by facilitating sessions even while in isolation. You all are the true heroes. Thank you to the President of the Nigerian Bar Association, Mr. Olumide Akpata, the Nigerian Bar Association Young Lawyers Forum, and their chairman, Mr. Toby Adebowale, for partnering with us this year. We are deeply grateful, and I must emphasize, deeply and sincerely grateful to all our supporters and team members. It had been a long, arduous, hard journey so far for 5 years, but we are here today standing and still standing because of the words of encouragement that you have given me privately, because of the monetary support that you have given me and contributed to this huge and humongous dream. I must here pause to say a special thank you to Pastor George Izunwa and his family, Honorable Nimi Walson Jack, who was the first person that saw me with 13 people in a room on a day that it was raining cats and dogs. I had never met him before. I just said to him, I have a dream that one day legal practice will be different, and I'm doing something about that dream. He left everything he was doing on a Thursday and came in the middle of the rain, in the midst of it raining cats and dogs, and he stayed with me and said, Inem, this can grow big. We will support you as much as we can. That simple word of encouragement has gotten us to where we are today. Mr. Osije Okocha SAN has also been very supportive. Mr. George Etumi, Mr. Wale Akani of Babalakin & Co., our digital partners, Cogito Egosom, our first-class talk service provider, the MC of Life. I must say thank you very much, because all the services you see, I said before, comes as a rate of goodwill. We could not on our own afford them coming here, but they have expressed their time and their talents to provide this for us all. I would like to express my deep gratitude and thanks to the Nigerian lawyer, as well as Mr. Damilare Ojo, for his support and his assistance all through this journey. To you, our faithful attendees, you are the reason why I do what I do. Myself and my team, sometimes we get so discouraged and exhausted, but your feedback matters. Your feedback, when you come back and say, oh, you won a scholarship because of things you learned, you won an opportunity to be mentored by a specific lawyer, and then you got certain opportunities, it makes me glad to see that the legal practice is growing from where it is today, and you are the future. It is because of you that I am. There will be no me without you. To my family, for simply loving me through the wild pioneer journey, I come up with crazy ideas, crazy expensive ideas, because before we got here to be Legal X, it was an expensive journey. We made mistakes along the way. We changed vendors, but we persisted. You have stood with me through this imaginary journey, and you encouraged my belief in a tech future. You are most invaluable and irreplaceable. I would once again want to say thank you very much, and God bless you all. Please connect with us on social media. Follow us and come on our website, www.thelegalconcierge.org, and follow us on Instagram, The Legal Concierge, Twitter, The Legal Concierge, same thing with Facebook. And on the agenda that we sent out to all registered attendees, you have our phone number there. If you're willing to be a part of what we do, you're willing to support this project, because we need all the support that we can get, financially and otherwise, please get in touch with us at info@thelegalconcierge.org. info at thelegalconcierge.org. We are willing to work with you. We believe in collaboration and not competition, so we are willing to have conversations on how we can take this to the world, because the idea is to leave an impact. You can tell that we've not charged anybody for this Young Week conference. It has not been a money-generating or a revenue-seeking venture. It has been the idea of leaving a legacy for the future. What would your children and what would the people behind you have to say about what you did during your time on earth here? For us, this is it. So if you're willing to partner with us, you're willing to work with us, we are very willing and open. We are young, we are fun, we are funky, but we are very smart lawyers. So please come on board, and thank you very much. This is going to be the end of the live session of Young Wigs Conference 2020, and we are looking forward to seeing you in the year 2021. Compliments of the season. Thank you very much.
Are you looking for legal services and you think it's too hard or too expensive? Are you tired of engaging lawyers without knowing their specific niche and area of expertise? Are you a senior lawyer in search of a temporary lawyer to assist you in a brief in a faraway state? Do you simply want to know the full cost of legal service before you start the journey? Search no more. With a touch of a button, Legal X guides you on what kind of lawyer you need and where they are around your location. Download Legal X and set your world in motion. Are you looking for legal services and you think it's too hard or too expensive? Are you tired of engaging lawyers without knowing their specific